Hi everyone, welcome to OG's Hooking and Stitching Island Style. I'm Antoinette and I'm one half of the channel. I'm sure you all saw my first speaking video and I cut my head off. Bear with me while this process and I learned the different linkings, and as you can notice I did not edit my videos. But this one is going to be about finished objects and works in progress. Some of the things I've done over this past summer. And from there we'll just kind of wing it. The first thing I wanted to show you was the Lost in Time shawl. It's done by, its designer is Johanna Lindahl, and I'll link this stuff at the bottom if I can figure out how to do it. I did it in Karen Big Cakes Honey Glazed, and it is a lovely, lovely pattern. It does take a little bit of time and it's hard to see it on this. I'll insert a picture, if I can, of the finished shawl, and it's been blocked. And it was a lot of fun to work up. It's got a lot of texture to it. If you look, you can see the different stitch texture. And I used a size H hook, and like I said, the Karen Big Cakes, which is number 4, and I used one big cake for it, and it was honey glazed. One of the other things I had finished was for my granddaughters, and a few years ago I guess they were big, the mermaid tails, and this one here is just a basic Yarn Inspirations pattern. It's really simple, pretty much all double crochet, and this is the tail. This was done with Mega Family Value XXL from Mary Maxim, which is a great value for blankets, you know, these types of projects. 2,600 yards, and they had it on sale a couple months ago for like $10. Normally it was $30. And then I emailed them and said, you know, when would it be back in stock? And they said unfortunately they were discontinuing it. And I thought that was quite a loss because it was a good value. You know, you $2,600. Sorry about that. My husband's fire radio went off. I shut it off because it's quite loud doing their daily time check. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that interruption. Got a phone call. And I was trying to find some of the finished objects. I guess I'll do these over a few videos. I don't want to make the videos too long, but I can show you what I'm working on now. This is a bag. I don't know how true to color that's coming. It's a really pretty purple that Zach Stout's husband did. And I got several bags from him, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I love the project bags. If you email him, you can order them from him. And he also has a podcast, which if I can, I'll link it at the bottom of the video in the show notes. I found this pattern, and it's a beautiful pattern. It's by Suvi Geary, and she has her company's called Suvi's Crochet, and it's called the Birds of Paradise shawl. And it's got a very unique pattern to it, and really even an advanced beginner can do it. It's just paying attention to your stitches, and I am using Lion Brand's Shawl in the Ball. This is called Zen Azalea. Now they say this is a number 4. I'd say it's more like a number 2, or maybe a light 3 is pushing it. And I'm using a size 3.5 or E crochet hook. And this is what it's looking like so far. the colors are working up. Now all this you see here, the next round goes into each one of these stitches. You can see. And that's how it's growing. It uses, I think, a 6-row repeat, but it's feathers and petals is basically how Suvi describes it. I will try and link the pattern down. I believe this was a free pattern that I got off of her blog. And it says you need approximately 900 to 950 meters of a light fingering. So it gives you charts, and like I said, it's not a bad pattern. It's written very well. It's easy to follow. It gives you the special stitches and how to do them, and I believe she has tutorials that are available for this. Don't quote me on that though. I would have to. Yeah, she's got picture tutorials. I don't know if we can get, if you can see that. I'm trying to use natural light. I got 7-foot windows here, but I work on this. I usually have, I work on the ferry when I'm going to work, which I've shown you some video of going on the ferry. But that's one whip I have in progress. One of the other ones I'm working on was I had an order for 2 messy bun hats for Mommy and me. And I did the little girl's hat. And I finished it. And this is what it looks like. Got all my ends sewed in. I just haven't blocked it yet. I usually don't block my hats. But that's what it looks like. And it's a messy bun hat. And that's the ponytail holder up there that you single crochet around and then do the hat. And it's done in Red Heart gumdrops. And that yarn reminds me of Karen Simply Soft. It's a very soft, very nice to crochet with. Glides right over the hook. And frogging's easy. The other yarn, I don't have a ball band. It was in a bunch of yarn. It was given to me. But it's hard. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a metallic silver thread through it. And this pattern basically calls for a double cluster stitch. And it's just alternating your 2 colors. And then this is what I'm almost done with Mommy's hat. And then I'm almost finished with my Christmas orders. Haven't sewed in the ends here yet. But that's how it's worked in the round. You can see where I'm at here. And it said you could carry the yarn up the back instead of having to cut and sweat, but I haven't quite mastered how to carry yarn up the back, whether it's knitting or crocheting. I'm working on it. I keep trying to push myself out of my comfort zone and learn new techniques and ways to do things. One of my goals this year is Tunisian crochet. And I was talking to Mary earlier of Mary's Crochet Chit Chat. Hi, Mary. And the project that I'm working on is a design by Regina Weiss. I love her patterns. I love her designs. If I can, like I said, I'll link. I've done her Lotus Mandala duster, which was a long project, but I was quite pleased with how it came out. Her patterns are well written. They're easy to follow, and she is absolutely Johnny on the spot. If you have any questions, email her, and she answers you within a day or so, if not sooner. And you just put the question to her, and she might ask you to send a picture of what you're working on, and she can help you figure out why your count isn't coming out right or something doesn't look right. But she came up with this new design called the Elf Coat, and it's a paid-for pattern, so I'll put a link, like I said, if I can do this, I will put a link to her blog, which is where all her patterns. She has a lot of free patterns, but the Elf Coat is a paid-for pattern, and it's a Tunisian crochet, which is one of my goals, is to teach myself Tunisian crochet. I've watched some tutorials on it. TL Yarn Crafts is a channel that does a lot of tutorials on Tunisian crochet. And there's a few other YouTubers that have some very good instructional videos. And like I said, that's one of my new goals, is to teach myself Tunisian. I mean, it's a beautiful jacket, and I showed Mary, and it's a process. It's a lot of work in that pattern. I think there's between 5,000 and 6,000 yards of yarn for the pattern, and I still haven't decided what I'm going to make it out of. I have an idea of what I want to use. She gives you two options. One's a King's Riot DK, and the other one is the Unforgettable. So you have, if you can't get the King Cole Riot, then you can use Unforgettable, and she gives you how much to use for each one. But I digress, off track. I'll do that a lot for a while, I think, until I get comfortable sitting here talking to myself. But that's just a couple of projects I have going on. I've got a Lion brand pattern going. It's called the Weekender jacket, and it's done holding 3 strands of chunky yarn. I'm doing it in 2 because I'm using a chunky 6 rather than a chunky 5, and it's too big for me to put up and try to get it on within the frame here, so I'll have to take a photo of it and insert it on a later video when I talk about that particular work in progress. And I have been keeping a knitting crocheting notebook. It's almost full for what I've done this year, and I try to actually put the yarn I use, ball bands, you know, I just have to put pictures, but this is what I have so far. Okay, all of a sudden my camera went dark. I couldn't figure out why, so I turned the overhead lights on. But this is my knitting notebook, and as you can see, oops, oh great, I'm gonna rip. I'll put down the ball band, samples of the yarn I'm using, you know, and I write down particulars, and everything's falling out of my notebook. Excuse me. Just so I know how much I have done for the year. I mean, I know Carrie Penny from Happiness is Homemade. She does grams, or you know, how much yarn she used. I haven't got that. I mean, I'm obsessive compulsive, but I haven't got that far yet. And yes, I did find the pattern. Here it is. It's just a picture. That is the Elf Coat by Regina Weiss. And I cannot wait to get it started. Sorry about that. Hubby calling to tell me he'll be coming in off the cages. But that's just some of the stuff I've been working on, and I'm going to try to put together just like a picture montage of some of the things I've showed you, so you can see what they look like spread out, blocked. And I hope you enjoy coming on this crochet and knit journey with me. I'm going to do a video hopefully tomorrow of some of the acquisitions I've gotten recently, which I treated myself to a new set of Knit Pro nickel-plated option interchangeable sets, and I absolutely love the needles. They are easy to work with, as opposed to my Takumis that are bamboo, which have a tendency to stick with the certain types of yarn. And also discuss about some of the places where I get my yarn from. Living in Canada, we don't get the sales that you get in the States, and Mary and I were discussing this today, and I've actually joined her as of October 1st. I am going to be on a yarn ban, other than if I have to finish a project and I don't have anything in my stash, which is quite substantial. What I am excited about is I will have an actual craft room in the new house, which by the end of next month I should be able to do a tour of my craft room. I'm really excited because right now I'm living out of totes and a cubicle shelving unit for my yarn, which I sat down and literally inventoried how many I had of each, how much yardage, colorways. So if I have a certain project in mind, I could just go to my sheets here once and look and see what I have and say, oh yes, I have enough of this yarn to make a project, or if I have to combine several colors or brands of yarn to make the project. But I have enough whips in progress right now that I have a few things on my plate to keep me busy. And I hope all of you out there are having a great day and are enjoying this last few days of summer. And I will talk to you soon. In the meantime, have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.